Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. There are two components inside your computer that a lot of people tend to confuse. Memory, or RAM, and hard drive space. I've kind of explained the differences between the two, but to recap, a hard drive is where all your data sits. It just sits there waiting. And then when you're ready to run it or view it or access it, then it pulls itself, well, in a layman's terms, from the hard drive into memory. And the two are completely separate. Memory has no moving parts, but a hard drive, at least at this point in time, certainly does have moving parts. And because memory doesn't have any moving parts, it's faster than the hard drive. Now, Windows can run out of memory. Any operating system can run out of memory, and that is where having virtual memory comes in handy. We've talked about that before as well, and that is when the operating system basically says to the hard drive, all right, I'm going to allocate just this much space and pretend that that's memory so that I don't run out of real memory over here and crash the operating system because you can't open any more files or programs or whatever. So it allocates, part of the hard drive for that. But there are times that maybe you've got a lot of RAM that's not necessarily being used. You could set up what they call a RAM disk, and that is essentially turning a fragment or a section of your RAM, which flushes itself every time you reboot, by the way. Memory does. But you can set up a RAM disk, and in that section of memory, you could treat it as if it was a disk. And so anything that you do in that section of memory, that RAM disk, will be faster than if you did it on your hard disk. Because remember, there's no moving parts, and it's just faster, fundamentally faster. But to set up a RAM disk with any kind of ease, you're probably going to need a utility. And I ran across this utility the other day, ramdisk.tk. That's the website. And this email came in from Reb. I'm a fan of what you're doing. Always watch YouTube videos and sometimes live. Also a fan of the audio music, producing, live DJing, etc., etc. The problem is that when I'm decompressing MP3 files to WAV before it can play them, and it stores them in the hard drive cache folder, which I can set up. Now, why would I decompress something to the hard drive if I could use RAM to store that data temporarily? Because remember, it's faster. And he says, so I found a great tool, software called RamDisk, and again, the website, ramdisk.tk. It can use a preset part of RAM to make a RAM disk, which appears as a drive inside the computer. The basic light version costs only $8, and it solves the problem completely. So if you go here, you can get download a version for just about every version of Windows, including Vista and 64-bit Vista as well. It's set up. You can try it. If you like it, great. If not, well, you don't need to keep it, certainly. But it recommends some of these, use scenarios for why you might want a RAM disk. And again, it's used to store files temporarily. So you might want to put your browser cache inside the RAM disk, have it write to that instead of someplace on your hard drive. So when you reboot, it's automatically cleared. Audio and video capture and editing. Games or installed programs that use a temporary directory, scratch disk for Adobe Photoshop, creation and playback of slideshows, data that has to be written to a CD, as storage of the Ready Boost cache on Vista, and all kinds of data that might be lost or must be lost for security reasons. So that's if you haven't thought about a RAM disk at all in the past, you might consider using this utility to set one up. You may know of a better RAM disk utility either for Windows, Linux, or OS X, and by all means make those recommendations. Either leave them in the thread or email me, chris@pirillo.com. I see everybody's emails. I may not respond to them all, but I'm always on the lookout for cool utilities for just about any operating system. More Windows and OS X than Linux, just because a lot of people watching our videos are usually one of two of those people. In fact, a poll tonight when I asked about Macs versus Windows, about 20% said they already have a Mac, 39% said that they don't have a Mac but they want one, and the rest basically said no, I don't want a Mac. So there's a few people out there who are moving a little past Windows or might want to. So I'm trying to find every opportunity to explain how you can do anything that you might want to do on any operating system. Now, if you want to stop by our chat room, make some recommendations or suggestions, maybe you've got some questions, maybe you got some answers. You never know. I'll have to ask Kat to tell you exactly where you can find us.
You will find us typically talking tech or chatting about pretty much anything, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in one place and one place only. That's live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.